Here's what foolish companies do. They ask, well, how do we submit new products here, doctor? Because Dr. Samuel has no idea either. He's an employee. Nobody explains it to him. He goes, oh, I think you're supposed to submit it through some portal, through the supply chain. I'm going to urge everybody listening to this, do not do that. What we're going to do is...
Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. Since you're training other medtech companies on how to sell, I'm assuming that bleeds into how to hire.
Yeah. And I still have about 2 people a week who, probably 4 people a month who call me and go, hey, can you help my kid get in? My son wants to talk to you.
Are you
And
sending them to us, Mark? That's the real question.
I tell them to buy Mace Horoff's book. I tell them to follow Mace,
Okay.
and and I just have people follow Jeremy and oh my God, I'm blanking on her name, because I think they're reps who use LinkedIn in a way that I think younger generations
Need to
should
learn.
consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's do this.
I do send them your way, by the way.
Let's talk about what you do now, the training, and then this is perfect for us to get into what makes an amazing sales rep. You know, I think one thing that still happens today in 2026, there's a lot of reps out there that they just don't know how to be great. And their company is either too big to give them the specific training that they are hoping to get, or too small to give them any training at all. And that's why they look for sources, services like mine, services like I'm sure you, and they look for training. So let's talk about that landscape, what makes a good rep. And then I would love to talk about what hiring managers are looking for. And I'll give you the secret behind it. So right now, we've placed hundreds into medical sales positions now. And the majority of our students that enroll in our programs and pay for our services, they are green as can be, right? Nurses, PTs, physical therapists, OTs, teachers, real estate agents, but they've never touched medical sales. Either they come from healthcare and they've never touched sales, or they come from some business admin job and they've never touched healthcare or sales. And then sometimes we do get...
I was going to ask you, do you get just like recent college grads?
Yeah, we get those too.
Yeah,
I would say about 20% recent college grads, 40% healthcare clinicians, and 40% everybody else.
Take it easy on the math, dude. Take it easy on the math. You're like...
So 20% new college grads, 40% healthcare, 40% everybody else.
Okay.
What we continue to see, though, is we have a lot of success. We have success getting people that have no sales experience or no medical experience, and definitely no medical sales experience, into these roles. But I'd love to hear from someone like you to speak about how that is very real, because these are the things that we need to see. It's not so much we need to see that you have medical sales experience, but we need to see the specific skill set that allows us to think you're worth taking a chance on and hire.
Exactly. That's perfect. I have basically have this chambered because I answer this so many times. I'm like, okay, here's what they're looking for. It's not what you think it is. Think about and then we do this. Yeah, the whole thing. So I'm totally in line with you. Yep.
I love it. Okay, so let's have some fun. All right. So, hey, Mark, how are we doing today?
I am great. Samuel, how are you? What's going on?
Fantastic. How long has it been since we've spoken?
I was trying to think about that. I think it might be close to 2 years, maybe
2+ years. Yeah,
probably somewhere in there. Yeah.
So you've been doing amazing things. Last time we spoke, you were vice president of sales at 3T Medical Systems, but I know that you've been moving up and doing your own thing. So please tell us exactly what you're doing now, what space you're in now, and what you're doing now.
Well, because I'm old and
We don't use that
have
word around here, sir.
well, let's say I've taken several dozen spins around the sun. I
Okay.
have a lot of this unique experience, most of it with smaller med device companies. And so every sales mistake that's been made, I've made it. Um, every bad career choice, I've probably done it twice. And but over the past 2 years, I really started posting and teaching. I was consulting for some companies sort of on the side, just teaching them the new arena in which we sell, because medical selling in medical sales is different than it was 10 years ago, considerably different. And so I have started to do a lot more of that. And it's primarily because I started posting about my experiences and failures and on LinkedIn, and companies started reaching out to me saying, "Hey, like, can we hire you? Could you teach us what you have learned?" And I was already doing it. I just wasn't promoting it. And so now I've spent the past, since you and I talked,
Yeah.
doing a lot of that, and it's great. It's fun, and I get to teach people all the things not to do because I did them all. Right.
Amazing.
So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
So let's qualify it a little bit. So talk to us. What specific medical device specialties are you training in now?
yeah. So my training in medical device was in spine for about 15 years, and then really like operating room sterile processing. But I also sold a lot of things into emergency department, NICU,
Okay.
ICU,
Okay.
so sort of broad based, right? Today, I am focused really on perioperative operating room sterile processing, because I just like it. I think it's fascinating. Always have, and always will. Um, but that's my training. So I have hung out with a lot of surgeons in a lot of operating rooms, a lot of sterile processing departments over my career. So, that's where I'm focused. If I'm selling a product, it's usually in that space.
Okay. So when you're training,
Mm.
working with a med device company, it's also in that space.
Yeah, not necessarily though. Yeah, it tends to be because of my sort of historical background. People who know me, I did those things.
Right.
But I've been working with companies now that, in urology,
Okay.
in the ICU, in the
Okay.
NICU,
Okay.
in the ED, places where I didn't necessarily have years of experience. Um, and it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm an old
Yeah.
liberal arts guy. It hits different parts of your brain,
Yeah.
and so yeah. But if you said to me, where do you really know what you're talking about? It's the operating room and sterile processing.
Okay. So let's stay there. Let's stay in the operating room and let's talk about the medical device rep specifically
Hmm.
that is doing procedures. They're in the operating room. That's where they're going every day. Give us, because I want to qualify exactly the person, almost like an avatar of who we're talking about. Give us a day in the life of the average person you're training. When are they waking up? They're going from hospital to hospital. When are they done at night? What is it looking like?
I mean, if they're average, they're getting to the hospital at 7 a.m. and probably, I mean, listen, if they're average, they've probably been in the business 4 or 5 years. Got was an associate which had some business seeded to them, and are turning $800,000 of business hopefully into 1.5 million or whatever, right? So they're in the OR at 7 a.m. They get home and they spend hopefully a good bit of their day in the OR. They make 2 or 3 sales calls a week
Okay.
and running around, and are more medical device coverage than sales. But that's it seems to me that's
The
they
average.
spend it in the OR. They love wearing scrubs in. They can
Sure.
hang out in scrubs, and
Sure.
I just, that's I
Okay.
think the typical average day. I don't know unless is that what your experience is? Is that what you
No,
said?
no, no. You're nailing. So remember, my experience is much broader than that because from our vantage point, medical device is just a subset of medical sales, right? You have biotech, you have pharma, you have gosh, over 40 different specialties that we help people get into. But medical device specifically, and then right now we're talking about even a subset of a subset with urology, NICU. It's a small subset. So
Yeah, yeah.
sticking with that subset, average, what's that average rep making? The average.
I think probably 120 to $150,000. I
Okay.
would think.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
OTE. Okay. And again, what's the lifespan, career span of the average rep? that we're talking about right now, how long are they doing this for
Mm,
typically?
that's a good question. I would say it used to be. I think it used to be a when I got into it, and probably till 15 years ago, it was a destination job. Once you got into it,
You're done.
you were in it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
mission, right? And I think today it's changed, and I've seen it. I think it's 5 to 8 years.
5 to 8 years.
But it's funny. I hadn't really thought about it till you asked me.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of a something I sense as opposed to something I know.
Sure. I'll take it. And then if we stick with that 5 to 8 years, what do they typically go on to do?
It's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of people who are either let's put it this way, they're either hoping to be promoted, right? And spend less time in the facilities because it's so much work these days in the facilities. Um, or they're getting out of it and going to do I've seen people who I thought were going to be in it for the rest of their career go my camera just changed.
No, it looks
Go
good.
to go to real estate. I've seen people go to small business ownership. It's just this weird change to an extent in medical device that it's I I I don't know where I don't know where some people are going.
But okay,
I still suspect promoted.
but you would say that, for lack of a better phrase, people are leaving.
Yeah, I don't know what the percentage is. I never used to see it. I'm seeing it now.
Seeing it
It's
now.
more than it used to be, you know?
Okay. So let's talk about that. What's it driven by? From what you're seeing, the average, we're talking about the average now, because we're going to get into the superstars in a second. But right now, we're talking about the average rep, or 7 a.m. to what time do you say they were getting home again?
Well,
Usually
I mean,
around
I would say 6, but,
6.
if you're in the OR or ICU or ED or NICU, it's kinda to be determined,
Okay.
towards the end of
Fair.
the day, like, so but it's long, it's unpredictable.
A couple cases a week, and they're hanging out in the OR. They're always wearing scrubs. They're making 120, 130 to 150, 160, and they have about a 5 to 8 year career span, and they're leaving the industry typically at the end of that 5 to 8 years.
I think we're seeing more and more of that. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
typical, right? I don't wanna
Sure.
say
Sure.
typical, but I think it's becoming more common than we would have anticipated.
So let's talk about it. Why do we think that's happening?
A couple things. I think the job is hard, right? I had a guy I worked with for a long time, Mark Randall, who I respect tremendously. He said, getting into this field, you're not getting a job, you're sort of taking on a lifestyle. And he
Mhm.
didn't mean like sitting on a boat drinking
Right.
pina coladas. He meant like
Right.
this is now your life, right? To an
Right.
extent. I think that's hard. And I honestly think there's a lack of sales training, a lack of sales leadership, generally speaking, that wears people out because they're not seeing personal progress, I think is oftentimes the case. And I hear that a lot more from people now. And I think smart companies are starting to realize that we need to invest a little bit more in our people, not necessarily compensation wise, but more developmental.
Yeah. So if you're let's take this typical, I hate the word average. Let's say it's typical. This typical rep that's listening to this right now, and they're thinking to themselves, Mark nailed it. I'm in this right now. I'm in it right now. What what would you say to this rep to give themselves better control over the career they hope to have? Or maybe we start there.
Mm,
What do
good
you
que-
think the
yeah,
rep
that's
that's has this typical life experience that we just described, what do you think they wish they had or they thought it could look like?
well, I mean, I would advise somebody to think about like, well, first of all, what gives you job satisfaction? It doesn't mean you love it or whatever. It's like, what gets you up, what challenges you and you like accomplishing, because that's really what job satisfaction is. So, do you still see that in your job, but you're not getting enough of it? Whatever, like you have to think that way. And then you have to decide, like, okay, can I continue to do this way? And it's funny, it's usually not money. Everybody thinks it is. It isn't. The vast majority of the reason people leave their jobs are they see no career path for
Yeah.
promotion or
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 growth.
or growth,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Or they have a lousy boss. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, no,
I mean, it's
straight
usually
up.
those
Yep.
things. Yeah. Um, so I mean, I think and then I honestly think the people that really succeed regardless of a bad boss, whatever, are the people that have taken complete ownership of who they are and what they want to be. They're the ones who say, "Hey, what's your game plan?" It's like, all right, they have the strategy, they've written it down, they have plans. Here are the things I'm going to do. Here's the time. Here are the resources I'm going to invest in me, right? And companies used to sort of provide a lot of that years ago. It seems to me they do less of it. And so I think if you really want to get good, you have to do it in some cases yourself. And and I would say, are you willing to do that? Because if you're not, that's okay, but you should probably go somewhere where they'll help you do it if you won't do it for yourself. But I don't, it's hard, man. Like these jobs are great, they're rewarding, they're difficult. That's why they're great and rewarding, right? I don't know. You have as much sense of this because you talk to so many people as I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I don't know.
What I see, and this is what I want to get your insight in as well. I feel and I see people just don't know what they're really getting into. And with the growth of med tech companies, which is the growth of med tech, and correct me if you see it differently. With the growth of med tech, I think it's getting to a place of we need bodies. At the end of the day,
Yes,
we have this
yes.
new product, we have this new innovation. Now it's a mile a minute that these innovations are coming out. We need bodies. Who can we hire as fast as possible? Let's get this ball rolling. And so they're finding these bodies and they just don't want to spend the time because they want to get that product to wherever they believe it's supposed to go. And they're saying, get out there and do your best. And because there's so many people now that are aware of medical sales, that are aware of these sexy jobs with all this money and think what they think, they're throwing themselves and they're just making themselves available. Companies are taking advantage of that. And you're left with this never developed person that is looking for the opportunity, endless amount of jobs that can be recycled quickly if you're not able to deliver, and all these people that are not sure what to do with their careers. Tell me if that sounds
I think you nailed it. I think you said it perfectly, and I see it a lot of that. And it's, I don't want to say they're throwing bodies at it, but they're throwing bodies at it to an extent. And um, that's the only way you could almost describe it. So you can either rail against that and say that's not right, or you can accept it and say, all right, well, I plan on being a little bit different because the rest of these folks are not going to last, right? But absolutely, that's absolutely listen, I will tell you, I got hired by Pfizer in the go-go pharma days of late '90s, right?
man, the
96,
heyday.
right? And I remember they hired 500 of us. So they had 500 territories across country. They had a whole new division. We were going to work with 3 other divisions. And I remember this specifically. They said to us the first day of training, which we had to go to for 8 weeks. It was like going back to college. They said, every one of you people that's sitting here, we spent $100,000 finding you and starting to train you. So understand this is an investment in you because we've already spent $100,000 on you. And I remember sitting there thinking like, wow. And then you know what? They trained us so well that I left 4.5 years later. I have nothing but good things to say about them. Um, and I still use their training today, right? Like they were committed to being the best and the best trained and the best, most competent. And I laugh when med device makes fun of pharma because I'm like, "Huh, half you guys couldn't have handled the training we went through when I was at pharma."
Right.
And it was tremendous. It was the best training I will ever have in my career.
Mhm.
So you know, let's hold off on making fun of something we don't understand. Um, so I don't know. I definitely agree with you. I don't see that happening except for a handful of companies in med device.
Okay. So with that in mind, what is the best way someone that's listening to this right now and thinking, I need to get better control of my career, where would you say they start? What advice would you give?
Um, if you don't have them, get mentors. Like, I mean, identify someone, ask them to be your mentor, somebody at your company that's where you would what doing their job the way you would like to be seen doing yours, and go find them and ask them to be a guide, right? Like, tell them, "I've identified you as a mentor, and I'm going to try to wring every bit of knowledge out of you I can, and if you gotta buy 'em beers or chocolate chip cookies or hug them,
Do
who
it.
cares? Do it, number 1. And then number 2, also self-assess yourself. Like, look at yourself and say, "What do I do well? What do I think I do well and I'd like to do more of? What do I not do well and I need to do better? And then where do I go find resources?" It might be your mentor, it might be a book, it might be a training you go to, but, um, they always said LeBron James spends $1,000,000 a year on just training his body, right? On trainers, and I mean, okay,
Yeah.
if he's willing to do it,
And you
I
got to
don't
do
think
something.
you don't need to spend 1,000,000,
Yeah.
but you need to spend some time, money, and make some sacrifices. And if you do that, it always works. Oops, sorry, just dropped something. It always works. So why would you not do it, right? Yeah.
You said you train teams now, uh, and and just so I understand, what is the typical size of the teams that you train?
Because I tend to work with small med device companies, it's usually sales forces of anywhere between 15 and 50. I'm working with one right now that's, I mean, if they're direct reps, they have 3. Um, but they're sales agents, they're 1099s,
Sure.
but
Sure.
probably closer to 40.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of.
So, yeah, typically.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about how sales has changed for the rep in the past 5 years, and the biggest gaps you see when you're training these teams now.
Here's why I think the job's gotten harder is because of the way healthcare has changed. So 10 years ago, Samuel and Cope, our partners, were out selling something, and we knew that if we learned to talk the language of the doctor, and we understood the procedures, the anatomy, the pathology, how they talk, the Latin, like, we would sell. We could sell products because if surgeons or doctors or heads of the ICU said, "I like this," they got it because they were the doctor. Health systems have merged, they're massive conglomerates now. 75% of all doctors are employed now. They sort of feel like they've lost their political clout to an extent. It's certainly downregulated. And now we as salespeople don't just sell clinicians. It's almost like this. It used to be the end line. Like, we got their mission accomplished. Now it's like, okay, cool, job started. Now we have to get these new products approved in these monstrosities, and nobody tells us how to. That's what I teach companies how to do that. I mean, I could teach you how to talk to doctors really well, but most companies are getting decent at that, or at least the reps are getting, because otherwise they won't. If they can't talk to doctors, they won't survive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I could train people on that, but that's not what I do. I train those that say, I can get doctors interested. I have doctors who want this. We have no idea how to get this approved in this health system or even down to this ambulatory surgery center. And that's because this change in the healthcare structure requires another set of skills, not one that replaces that, it actually layers on top of it. And it's business cases. And so it's like a whole new set of skills that we're kind of required to understand, and it's not easy. That I
Right.
actually think the job is harder today
Right.
than it was 5 years ago. Um, so does that helpfully
Yeah, it
answer your
does.
question? Yeah.
Now, when you train these companies, is it typically it's all on the rep? The rep has to figure out how to find these other touch points to get something approved so that it can actually be utilized by the physicians? Or is it typically a whole different department that you're also training to have that
Yeah,
conversation?
yeah, it's it's back to your question earlier. It's funny. It's it's the reps. I had to do this because if I didn't, nobody else
Nobody
could,
would do it.
right?
Period.
Now, Stryker or Medtronic is slightly different,
Right, where they have big
but
enough. Yeah.
right, but if you're a rep and you want to sell and close deals, if you don't know how to do this, you better have somebody really good you can fast rope in to do it. Um, and I think the really good ones are trying to figure it out, right? The mediocre ones are like, I don't know what to do. When's somebody going to help me? And that's kind of one of the differences between the mediocre and the really good, you know? So, um, I think if you own your territory and you own your business, you make it your business. I'll hold this up. Won't be able to see it, but like these are the people I think everybody who calls on an operating room should call on, and who they are, what their training is, what matters to them, generally speaking. Because if you don't add them, it's going to be harder,
So
right? They're not doctors,
right.
by the way.
So
You
so then
know,
just to qualify this, because people are listening right now that they don't understand enough about what we're talking about because they just haven't been in it, right? They want to be in medical sales. They're trying to get all the information they can. Describe for us what it looks like to do it the old way or the uninformed way where you're just going out the doctor, and describe to us who you actually having conversations with this way to be effective today.
yeah. So the old way was I call on Dr. Samuel. Dr. Samuel somehow lets me in his office. I have something he's interested in, and he's like, "Hey, I like this." In 2015, he would say, "I want this. I'll get this approved, and we'll use it next week." Right? Went through a little committee, and I'm cool. And I handed somebody a bill when we did the case in the OR. Now it is Dr. Samuel says, "Hey, I like this. You got to get it approved." And now what I have learned is here's what foolish companies do. They ask, "Well, how do we submit new products here, doctor?" Because Dr. Samuel has no idea either. He's an employee. Nobody explains it to him. He goes, "Oh, I think you're supposed to submit it through some portal, through the supply chain." I'm going to urge everybody listening to this, do not do that. What we're going to do is I tell doctors, okay, cool, you want it? Now do not submit anything, doc, because we need to build a business case. These people in here are not going to approve any new product unless they understand clinically why is it better for our patients. And then also, I need a justification. Why should we add this? Or like, we don't understand any of this. And these are the people I go to in the OR, directors of perioperative services. In the ICU, it's the clinical director. They're usually a nurse who has some clinical background, rapidly can understand your complex technology, but they run the business of the ICU. They run, they they carry the profit and loss. They hold the P&L, right? So that's not supply chain. Supply chain buys things and organizes things and manages contracts. The person who runs the ICU is usually somebody who's like, I understand what you mean. We have to decrease our sepsis rates. This might help us. It's really good for patients. And by the way, one of our KPIs is decreasing sepsis identification and diagnosis from 12 hours to 4 hours. That's a KPI. I think you help us.
Mhm.
That's a strategic win, right? Doctors will walk into these value analysis meetings and say, I want this, it's better for patients. That's not enough anymore, right? So the new process is, in my case, I think we find a new champion or multiple champions who understand the clinical and the business. Because if you don't, it just dies. It just sits somewhere and nobody approves it. So the new process is, but we're selling to businesses. This is business to business You don't just go to Coca-Cola and talk to some guy and he goes, "Oh yeah, let's buy $2 million worth of your whatever." Other industries look at us and they're
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? Doctors get to make their decisions." No, they don't anymore, right? So, how would you sell if you're selling to Home Depot? Um, it's different, and we have to do both, and that's why it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I train them how to sell to Home Depot within hospitals and ambulatory surgery centers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make any sense,
It does.
Samuel?
No, it does. It does. It does. It
It's
makes
okay
sense.
to tell me no.
For
Yeah.
that rep that's listening right now and saying, Mark's right. I haven't been able to push this product and I have the best relationship with these doctors ever and nothing's happening. How do I learn how to do what Mark is talking about? What would you say?
Well, I would say, first of all, this is not to sound self-promotional. This is all I post about on LinkedIn. I
Sure.
do all kinds of
Yeah.
educational
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
specifically for free for reps in that position because their companies are not doing it, generally speaking, right? So I feel bad for reps. These reps have these amazing technologies. They've actually done the hard part. Doctors want it, and then we can't get it in the hands of doctors to help patients because we don't know what to do next. Like we don't know, right? So I try to help reps as much as I can for free. My DMs are full of them. My texts are full of them. I will always try to help them that way. So if they just follow me on LinkedIn and they have a question, just ping me. I probably have something educational that I can just send to them that they can train themselves a little bit, right? But I mean, but I think if you because here's how I learned how to do it. I went and talked to the people and said, "What the hell is it do you need? What do you need? Because if I don't understand this, I don't sell anything, and the Copelands may have to move, right?" And I went and asked over 100 people on these committees, "What do you need? What are you looking for? What's the best new product request you've ever seen? What are the worst ones? What do you wish everybody did better that you're like, really? Another one of these?" They tell you everything because I'm not selling something. I'm discovering how to get them what they need to see to approve my new product for my clinical champions. And a lot of people won't do that. You can do it if you want, or you can call me and I'll tell you what they're going to say. Because I'm holding up again. I have like things like this,
Yeah.
but you'll know exactly who they are,
Yeah.
what they care about.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hopefully that helps. I mean,
It does.
it's hard. It's hard to tell sometimes.
And it makes me wonder, it seems obvious because just the direction of healthcare in general and how everyone's coagulating together and, becoming bigger players. Why wouldn't these companies be on the forefront of this and be making sure, doubling down and making sure their reps have this mastered? Why is that
They
even a gap?
Samuel, they will, right? Like there are plenty of smart people. I just happen to be ahead of it because of a couple of weird confluence of events. And it's a relatively recent phenomenon, right? Like in 2018, people were sort of like, yeah, I know, but my doctor's important. He'll get it or she'll get it.
Figure
And
it
they
out.
still kind of did.
I see.
This is sort of hit because of all the mergers. So I tell people this: there were 50 to 60 mergers, healthcare systems merged every year for 5 straight years in the United States. So every health system, look wherever you live. I guarantee there used to be 4 or 5 hospitals, maybe
Right.
2 health.
Right.
Now there's 2 health systems.
Right. 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 Right.
And that's entirely different. Those like so that's a relatively recent phenomenon. And there's plenty of smart people figuring it out. But I mean, the advice I can't tell you how many companies I've said, instead of hiring 20 doctors as consultants to teach you everything you need to know, hire 18 and hire 2 of these people and just tell them what they need to see. And so far, I am 0 for 200. All of them are like, oh, wow, we would never even would have thought of that. I'm thinking,
Wow.
but like there's a disconnect right now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
catching up, right? So
Yeah.
I'm smart now. We'll see how smart I am in 5 years.
Last question on this topic. So, like you said, this is a recent phenomenon and it's happened pretty quickly. I mean,
Mm.
2018 to now, that's less than 10 years. What's the next evolution of this? Where do you see it headed from here?
Well, you and I have seen this now. where so many procedures and CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, who sort of drives the way the dollar gets used in the United States for healthcare, right? They are pushing so many procedures to outpatient settings, to ambulatory surgery centers, to procedure rooms. The things they can do in cardiac alone is astounding that they're doing in these places now, right? They're less invasive, they're less disruptive. And so that's another sort of wave that's hitting all at the same time from sort of like a different orthogonal distance. So trying to understand how that all is occurring is something that people are going to want to pay attention to. You don't have to be a PhD. You don't have to be an MBA. I'm living proof you don't have to. But you have to pay attention to it because they're the winds, right? Like you hold your finger up and wet it, and you're kind of getting patterns. And those are things to pay attention to and understand. And if you at least understand those, you are ahead of 90% of the people within your company and with whom you compete out in the field. Yeah. So that's what makes you really good to what I think makes you great.
I love it. Yeah.
You know,
Now
so
let's switch gears a little bit
mm,
and dive just a little bit of time into hiring people. And I want to
yeah.
speak specifically to hiring people with no experience in medical sales. Give us top 5 things, what do you if you're someone that has no medical sales experience, but you've been working for 10 years, 2 years, 5 years in any industry, anything. What are the skills that Mark you believe absolutely have to be there to even be somewhat considered?
Um, well, I would say there's a couple of things that I have seen the really good people do that most people who want to get into this should think about. Number one, you have to be coachable, right? And you also have to be willing to learn and know that you don't know everything immediately. This is complicated. Like if you're going to train me to learn the ICU, if I think I'm going to learn the ICU in 90 days, I probably shouldn't be in the business in the first place because it is so complicated and so technical and so deeply clinical. Um, that it's almost insulting that I would think I could walk in and do it. So I have to be willing to like put my ego aside and learn and be willing to be coached. Because if you're not willing to be coached, you're not going to be any good. I mean, so number one, do you have examples of you being coached? And do you have examples of you putting your ego aside and learning? Right? Those are really important things. Now, most people have those. And then next, I would say, okay, now what motivates you? Number 3 is not necessarily in any order. Are you motivated and by what? And I don't really care by what, but what I do care is, are you motivated? And then can you prove it to me? Right? Because everybody says, yeah, I'm coachable. Yeah, I
Everybody
want to
says it.
learn.
Everybody says
Yeah,
it.
I'm motivated. You're all full of crap, right? You're all full of crap. Um, until you start giving me examples. Give, give me give me some examples. Give me some of those. And then I want to know, um, can you fit on my team? Right? Because most of us, very few of us are lone wolves in this business. We will be working with teams, whether in the ICU, the OR, your sales partners, your whoever it is. And are you willing to work with a team? Because I can't spend all this time to hire you. And 6 months in, I find out you're a complete jerk and everybody hates you. Like, because that's awful. You don't have to be a people person, but you cannot be polarizing, right? And then honestly, the fifth one is, are you goal oriented? Do you have goals and do you work towards them and prove it to me? Don't just tell me you are because I don't believe you. Nobody believes you because everybody says it. And show me like, yeah, well, actually, I spent an entire summer lifting weights because I got tired of getting pushed around on the lacrosse field, right? Or I decided I wanted to go learn something, so I paid for this course and I went and spent it, and now I have this certification with him. Okay, you're goal oriented, and then you showed me how you did it and you made sacrifices towards it. And you'll notice I didn't say people person, effervescent
Right.
personality,
Right.
right? Those things are nice, But if you don't have those other 4 to 5 things,
Sure.
like, you're gonna fail miserably. You're gonna hate it, you know? So, those are the things I want to know, and I think most hiring managers want to know. Are you willing, like, if you think about it, in sales, the reason people like to hire people with sales experience is not because they're great at sales necessarily, it's because they're used to getting judged,
Yep.
force ranked,
Yep.
putting a number next
Yep.
to them,
Yep.
right? And you don't suck your thumb, you go,
Yep.
I plan on being ahead of that next year, right? If you have examples of that, that's really what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We just know if you've done it for enterprise, you're used to being force ranked. If you've done it for Cintas, you've been coached, right? Like, and you're proving to us you're willing to do
Right.
those things. Does
Right.
that make sense? I
That
don't
makes
know what,
perfect
like,
sense.
does that jive with what you see?
I mean, it's what we teach. So, in our program, at Evolve Says Medical Sales Career Builder, we're training these people to bring that out, right? Because having placed hundreds of people into positions, we keep seeing over and over and over again, it's not about having medical sales experience or even sales experience. It's about demonstrating what medical sales experience and sales experience gives people the grit to be able to get the door slammed in your face over and over and over again and still get up and act as if it's your first day and you're going to make the best impression, right?
Right.
How to develop a relationship when someone wants nothing to do with you, right?
Right.
And have to
Yeah.
go after it and be hungry at all costs. So, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last question I have for
You
you.
just nailed it. You just
Yeah.
nailed it, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you're teaching people that because that is what we're looking for in the business.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Last thing I have for you is so, now I think a long time ago, there weren't programs that anyone could enroll themselves into to learn how to get into this industry. Now, I mean, there are. I mean, we have one of them. I want to believe that maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, what people thought about programs was iffy, right? Because someone investing in themselves to get into an industry, you're just not sure what the intention is, right? And you're not sure what that program is doing with that individual to prepare them. Nowadays, though, I'd like to believe that it's much more common and real talent's coming out of some of these organizations, especially ours. But without my bias, what do you think about when someone comes to you and says, "Yeah, I took the Evolve Says Medical Sales Career Builder program because I want to be in this industry so bad. I took it to get really bone up on these skills and showcase myself in the most powerful way." What are your thoughts on that effort?
I think it's an advantage, and I think it's a good thing because it shows they were willing to spend somebody's money. Whoever's it is, it could be theirs, it could be their parents, it could be whatever. Like, you've made a commitment, you've made a sacrifice that is a good indicator, right? So when those programs started first coming up, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know how to assess them. I have come to the conclusion that I think they're a good. I think they're good for showing your commitment, right? Because when you reach in your pocket, you're committing to an extent. I do think sometimes people come out of it with um, false beliefs. I think they think, oh, I go to this, and so now I know sales.
Automatic. Right.
And I'm like, yeah, no, you understand like how not to be a jeopardy in the OR or the ICU, right? But like, your product, you maybe understand some of this stuff, but sales is a whole different entity, right? So I always tell people, don't confuse the two. You covering cases is not sales.
Right.
That's service.
Right.
Sales is going and getting new business. That's different. And I think sometimes people come out or conflate the two. But yeah, I do think they're a good thing. I mean, I obviously you're biased. You think they are too,
Of
but
course.
I'm not. Like, I'm not biased.
Right.
I tell people who I get a lot of people who coming out of college. Medical device sales sounds cool. I want to do it. I'm like, all right. Well, consider some of these things, but understand it's a commitment, and so yeah, I think you're right. They didn't exist 10 years
Yeah, they
ago. I
didn't.
didn't know
No.
what to make of them in the first place. And I do think like some of them just try to tell people what to say,
Right.
and I think it's more important to say this is what they're looking for. if you have it, here's how to
Bring it
reveal
out.
it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a
Not about telling
subtle.
them what to say. It's about telling them how to bring out what you authentically have.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you guys, it strikes me as you guys do a pretty good job of that. I've listened to you guys talk about it. I think what you do is aimed the right direction. You have the right North Star. So I think that's why I do tell people, hey, you should check out Samuel. I didn't take it, but I think you should, right? Or consider it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love it. I love it. Mark, it's awesome spending time with you, man. We have one last thing to do today before we wrap
Right.
it up. It's called our lightning round. Are you ready? You better be ready. You know this, but we're going to do it again anyway.
I don't know how fast I am, but I will be as fast
All
as I
right. All
can.
right. I'm asking 4
Let's go.
questions. All right. First question. What's the best book you've read in the last 6 months?
Oh, boy, I'm reading Influence right now, on a
Okay.
recommendation of a friend, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And
The book's
I wish I
awesome.
read it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still every 2 or 3 years go back to read
I
Spin
love it.
Selling, and so I'm probably due to refresh on Spin Selling. Lousy name, great selling program.
Sure.
Uh, Awful name,
Sure.
great program. So, uh, how was that?
No,
Honor?
that's good. And in fact,
Okay.
both of those are recommended reading in our program. But hey, let me just pause. Last time you recommended Destiny of the Republic, do you remember that?
Yeah, great book that
Why is
turned it
that like
into a
one of my
Netflix
top?
series.
Why is that one of my top like 10 books now? I
Really?
loved
It's
that book, man.
unbelievable.
That book was fascinating. So thank you
Well
again
well,
for
you're
that
welcome. Listen,
recommendation.
man, I'm an old English major. Eh,
All right. Best TV show or movie you've seen in the last 6 months.
The Pit, not even close, The Pit.
I haven't
I
even heard
think
of it. What's that? What's the pit?
the The Pit on HBO,
Never
Noah
even heard of it.
Wiley's. Oh, you gotta watch it. So it's basically a made up level 1 trauma emergency department in Pittsburgh called The Pit, and it is like 2 seasons now, 12
Okay.
hours each, I think,
Wow.
and it is a shift, and it is some of the most compelling TV I have
Like
ever seen
that. Okay.
since The Wire. Um,
Really?
I
The
think it's
Wire is
yeah.
a classic. Okay. I'll check that out. The
Listen,
pit.
give it a run.
Okay.
And it's right in our field, right? It's right in our
Right
device.
up our alley. All right. And then we want the item and the restaurant and the location. Best meal you've had in the last 6 months.
I was not ready for this. The one I had at Hotel Hershey with my wife for her birthday
Okay.
a couple months ago.
Okay.
Like it's great place,
Hotel
the be-
Hershey.
the best company on the planet. My wife. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Where is this exactly?
Hershey, Pennsylvania, baby, land of
Hotel
chocolate.
Hershey,
Right.
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
That's where I live.
Okay.
That's where my wife is from.
Okay.
And yeah, come visit. We got
Okay.
a great
I will.
park.
I'm
You
gonna
got
hold you
kids.
to it.
Bring kids. We got a great park.
Consider it done.
So
And then last but not least, what's the best experience you've had in the last 6 months?
the best what?
Experience.
Oh boy. I'll tell you what it was. My kid graduated from college, Northeastern University, and got to walk at Fenway Park.
Wow.
We just did it a couple of months ago. It was awesome. It's my kid's graduation. It was emotional.
Yeah.
Great place. Yeah, that I'm gonna put that up there right now. And then I'll probably something I've totally forgot that my wife will smack me when she hears. Something. But yeah, I mean, listen, I like what you do. Thank you so much for inviting me
Always,
and
Mark.
having me on.
Always.
Let me know how we can. And please, any of the reps or potential reps, feel free. Just come to LinkedIn. I promise I will help you if you're struggling with these things.
Love it.
I'm here to help you guys. I'm here to charge your companies, but not you. I will help you if you're a rep just trying to get better.
I love it.
And just
Mark
trying to help
Copeland,
you out.
everyone. You can find him on LinkedIn. You can look him up. Mark, M-A-R-K, Copeland, C-O-P-E-L-A-N-D. Mark, this was fantastic. Thank you for the time.
Samuel, thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolvesuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.